All right, crocheters, this is our very last video in our Christmas in July tutorial, crochet-along festivities. Today we are going to be making the arms, the legs, the tail, and attaching all of them. So at the end of this video, you're going to be completely done. You're going to have this darling, darling little Christmas in July sheep, and this gives you plenty of time for, if you want to make more of these for, Christmas in December, because that's still a thing. You've got plenty of time to make them for, nieces, nephews, children, grandbabies, etc. I hope you guys will enjoy finishing this up and that it's been a good experience for you. All right, so to get started on the arms, we're going to use our 5.5mm hook and the fleece specified for the arm. We're also going to get started with our color B yarn. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie a slip knot in our color B yarn, and then we're going to insert the 5.5mm hook into one of the snips in the fleece. Then you're going to slide the loop onto the hook and pull the loop through. Then we're going to chain 1. So we're going to work around the project somewhat loosely. What we're trying to do is make the 5.5mm hook match the gauge of an 8mm hook. We're using the 5.5 simply to work into the fleece so that we don't stretch out those holes that we've made in the fleece to the extent that an 8mm hook would. So you're just going to essentially single crochet all the way around, just inserting your hook into each one of the snips and making a single crochet. And so for whatever reason, you'll see that my crocheting tends to curve inward. So like right now my project's a little bit inside out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stretch it lightly with my fingers and flip it so that it's, the correct way. And then I'll continue to crochet around. And so when we get to where we've done single crochets in every single snip, to kind of finish it off, we're going to insert our hook under that very first chain 1, and we're going to yarn over and pull through, and yarn over and pull through again to create a single crochet stitch. And so at this point, we are going to, I'm going to, lightly stretch this row so that it all lies the way that it should. And then we're going to take out the 5.5mm hook and we're going to switch it out for our 8mm hook. And that's how we're going to go into row 2. I'm also going to grab a little piece of yarn for a running stitch marker. All right, so rows 2 through 3, nice and simple, we're just going to single crochet 12. So go ahead and work those single crochets for these rows, and I will see you for the next row. All right, so on row 4, we're going to actually switch to our color A yarn. In this project, we're using white, and so I need to pull out that last half of the last stitch from row 3. And then I'm going to grab the white yarn, and I'm just going to pull it through the last half of that stitch. And that's how I'm going to change colors. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bobble stitch, and I'm going to make sure that I crochet over these yarn ends so that they're secured. So I'm going to do the bobble stitch, and then single crochet 2. So 1 and 2. So at this point we can snip off the gray yarn because we are not going to need it anymore for the arm, and we're just going to work with the white. So what we're going to do for the rest of the row is we're just going to continue doing the bobble stitch followed by the 2 single crochets. We'll do that for a total of 4 times. So there will be 12 stitches at the end of the row. So after row 4, we're going to start stuffing. So I've got a bit of nylon here. I'm just going to tie a knot in one of the ends. I'm going to pull it just as tight as I can. Don't want it coming out at all. And then we'll turn it inside out. So the knot is on the inside of the project, not the outside. We'll just grab a little bit of stuffing and put it in here. Just work it in. Always working to the edges of the project, not just straight down. There we go. So it's lightly stuffed for now. We'll add more stuffing about every other row. So row 5, we're going to single crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then decrease. We'll do that 3 more times, or I guess 2 more times, for a total of 9 stitches. For row 6, we're going to single crochet 1 and then bobble. And then single crochet 1. Repeat that again, single crochet 1, bobble stitch, single crochet 1. We just have one more. And single crochet. So at this point, we're going to add more stuffing. All right, that feels pretty good to me. So continue on. Row 7, we're going to single crochet 9. For row 8, we'll do a bobble stitch. Followed by 2 single crochets. I'll do that 2 more times. Row 9 is another easy one, just single crochet 9. And then after this row, go ahead and add some more fiber fill. I won't show that, but go ahead and do it. Row 10, we're going to single crochet 2 and then bobble. One and 2. And the last one of the bobbles. Row 11. Honestly, before we do row 11, add more fiber fill. You really want to be adding it probably every 2 rows or so. But this is the second to last row of the arm. So you've got to make sure that it's stuffed really well, because we'll be closing it up soon. All right. So row 11 is single crochet, and decrease. Do that 3 times. Then row 12 is going to be single crochet 1, and then decrease. Do that one more time for a total of 4 stitches. And that is the end of our row. So we're going to cut a 6 to 8 inch tail. Go ahead and pull it through. I don't think you can add any more stuffing at this point, honestly. Which, I mean, it's really narrow up here, so you don't necessarily want to add a whole lot of stuffing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these ends and knot it together. so it feels nice and secure. And just kind of tuck it like that into the project. And we're going to gather the stitches. So to do that, we're just going to use the 5.5mm hook and work it through the outside loop of each of those 4 stitches in the last row. So I like doing this just because I like having my projects, or like the individual pieces, tied off and done. It just gives me a little bit more peace of mind. So then what you're going to do is you're going to make a second one. So you've got your 2 arms ready to go. So now it's time to attach the arms. So we've got our body here, and the arms are just going to sit right at the base. I mean, it gets pretty thick in here with all of the different bobble stitches, but they're going to sit kind of below the ears, just right here where the head and the body are joined. So to do that, you can either like thread a yarn needle with the end of the tail from the arm, or you can use a 5.5mm crochet hook. And you're just going to work right here where these 2 are joined. You're going to pull the yarn tail through, like so. And then you're going to pull it kind of underneath these gathered stitches. So you've got like 1 join there. And we'll move down a little bit and join in like that row just below the neck. We'll move this forward. Essentially, we're just trying to get anything that's kind of near the arm and connect it. Because arms are another thing that little kids like to carry their toys by. You know, they'll just carry it by 1 arm around the house. So you want to make sure that it's nice and secure on there. And so for that, what I'm going to do, so I've attached it all the way around. And you can, carry it by that arm at this moment. That's just fine. But I'm not going to weave in the tail, or like knot it off and weave in the tail just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the next one, and then I'm going to knot the 2 yarn ends together so it feels extra secure. All right, so I've attached both of the arms, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take each strand and I'm going to pull it so it's in the same hole, or the same stitch, just here in the back, and then I'm going to knot those together. This is just kind of an extra insurance that it's going to stay high quality, not be able to have like something just ripped off, as we've got some extra strength and fortitude. And these ends are a little bit long, so I'm going to cut those off. And we'll finish weaving them in, just like that. So now we are ready to go ahead and make the legs. All right, so with the legs, we're going to do it very similar to how the arms were. We'll be starting with our fleece, the 5.5mm hook, and our color B. For this project, we're using gray. And we're going to make a slip knot in it, and then going from the front side to the back side, we'll insert our hook and pull the loop through, and we'll chain 1. Then we're going to single crochet all the way around. And when you get to the end of the, well, when you've made a single crochet in every stitch, you're going to just single crochet underneath that very first chain one, and we will switch hooks and grab our running stitch marker. So row 2 is single crochet 15. So in row 3 we're going to single crochet and then decrease. We'll do that 3 times. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet and decrease, and then single crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I didn't pull 6 all the way through because we're going to be switching to our white in row 4. So to switch colors, we're just going to pull it through like that. Let's see, flip the stitch marker over. And then we'll bobble stitch, making sure to crochet over all of these yarn ends so we secure them. And single crochet 2. 1 and 2. At this point we can cut off the gray yarn, and we're done with the gray for this project. So we're just going to continue around doing a bobble stitch, followed by followed by 2 single crochets. So in row 5, really simple, we'll just single crochet 12 all the way around. And for row 6, we're going to single crochet 2. And then gotta work under both stitches, bobble stitch. We'll do that 3 more times. So at the end of row 6, we're going to start stuffing. So we're going to do the same thing we've done before. Unless you're using like a brand new nylon or a knee-high for each of these, you're probably going to be, tying a knot in the end of a piece of nylon and working from there. And I actually don't recommend, like I'm showing a cut piece of nylon, I recommend using the entire nylon and then just cutting off when you are tying something off. I'm not showing that here simply because having so much nylon gets really cumbersome for the video, and it can be hard to see what I'm doing. So that's why I've done it this way. It's pretty good, but I've got this spot that's definitely missing some stuffing. There we go, that feels a little bit better. All right, on to row 7. So we're going to single crochet 2, and then decrease. All right, so then row 8 is going to be bobble stitch. And single crochet 2. We'll repeat that for a total of 3 times. At this point, you're going to want to add more fiber fill. All right, then row 9. Single crochet 9. And then after this row, we're going to finish stuffing and gather the stitches. All right, so row 9 is the last row in the leg. So we're going to cut 6 to 8 inch yarn tail, pull that through, and we'll finish stuffing. All right, so when we're all done stuffing, just knot it off. There we go. And then we'll gather the remaining stitches. Sometimes you kind of lose them. Because the yarn is so soft. Here we go. So just work through the outside loop of each. And pull it tight, like so. So you're going to make 2 legs, and when we had those decreasing stitches back in the 3rd row. It gives it a little bit of a front shape, like maybe the front of a hoof. And so when you're attaching the legs, it's important to kind of think about that and placing it so that the front part of the hoof is sitting forward. All right, so to attach the legs, we're going to take the body. Sorry, we've got to move most of it off screen so we can see the legs. But we're going to be attaching them in the 4th row. So if we're counting from the bottom up, we've got 1, this is row 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this bobble stitch row here. That's where the top is going to be. And what you're going to do, I'm going to see how well I can show this without it moving too much, is we're going to try and go, kind of lined up with the arm and the ears. And we're going to work right like this. You're just going to pull it through. That's like our very first join. And then we're essentially going to attach on the diagonal here. So we're going to work the yarn tail under, these stitches here in the top. And then, a stitch in the 3rd row. And then a stitch, a little bit farther down in the leg. And a, part of the 2nd row. So that's essentially all that you need to do. So that very last join was a little bit loose on mine, so I'm going to pull it back through the leg and tighten it up. Okay, so that feels good to me. So, so that's really all you need to do. If you want to make it even stronger, you can flip it to the back and do the same thing, but you're just going to join kind of these stitches in the back. With stitches in the top of the leg. And this, honestly, what I'm showing you now, this is a little overkill, but I care about kind of the heirloom quality of the project, and so I prefer overkill rather than having it not, very strong or secure. So then I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the arms. I'm going to attach the other one, and then I'm going to knot the yarn ends together. So now I've got both legs on, so I'm going to go ahead and work the yarn tails toward each other here in the back. Alright, so now I've got them both here, and then I'll knot them together. And then weave in the ends. And so this is, like in my written patterns, I don't actually show me doing this. I just say go, like not off and weave in the ends, each leg or arm individually. Just because it's more pictures, and I don't know if I could do the best job at kind of explaining what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. Or even if I could, it might be a little too verbose. Too many words for people to really want to read it. Oh, that one does not want to stay in. But it's, I don't know, I guess that's a bonus for doing it with the Crochet-Along, is that this is how it, you get little craftsmanship tidbits like that. So we are almost done. Our very last thing to do is make the tail. So we'll go ahead and bring our pattern back up, move our baby sheep to the side, and we're going to be working with our 8mm hook and our A yarn. So we're going to magic ring. We're going to single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and give it a pull. Row 2 is going to be increased times 5. So we'll have 10 stitches at the end of the row. Increase, increase 3, increase 4, and increase 5. Row 3 is going to be single crochet 10. So right now my project is inside out. My tail is inside out. I'm going to flip it out, correct after this row. I'm not quite sure why my crocheting tends to, it starts out inside out, but it must just be something about the way I hold my hands or tensioning or something. All right. So that's the end of row 3. Row 4, we're going to decrease 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So with the tail, we're not going to stuff it other than just with the initial yarn end. It's not completely yet. We have to attach it. So let me move this. So we're going to use the 5.5mm hook to gather the stitches. I guess honestly, if you wanted, you could just sew the tail on open. I just like each bit to be closed off and individual. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with it, I guess. So there's the tail, and then we're going to attach it to the body. All right, so to attach the tail to the body, we're going to have it be centered, on the head and on the body, and place it in the 5th row. So counting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And essentially, you're just going to pull the yarn tail under, and then you're going to work through kind of the last 5 gathered stitches. You're going to go 1 like that, then a nearby stitch in the body, then up through the last row. You're just going to do this. You know, 3 to 4 times until it feels really nice and secure. So that feels really good to me. So I'm just going to knot it off. That's one. I'm going to knot it one more time, just to be safe. And then go ahead and weave in the ends. I've got this pesky yarn end. I think this was from a knot in my yarn earlier. Hopefully that stays in. All right. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our baby sheep. We're done. We've finished the baby sheep. I really hope you guys have had an enjoyable time doing this, making this sheep. I've had a good time sharing it with you all. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you are able to make a lot more for all of the special kids in your life, or just for yourself. Let's be honest. Like, there's nothing wrong with adults having their own stuffed animals. Just ask me. I have a whole shelf. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun. I will talk to you again very soon. So I'm also really excited to see the pictures of your guys' finished baby sheep, and I'm excited to pick winners for the giveaways. Never done it before. This will be fun. So if you want to enter the giveaway, join the Facebook group and share the pictures, the process, your materials, share it all. We'd love to hear what you, like the thought process that went into making your baby sheep, and we'd love to see the finished objects. So share them there, and we will move on to the next step, which is picking a winner.